Okay, so we have finished week 4, which means we've been unschooling for a month. Have you ever had one of those weeks where you get to the end of the week and you're like, what the heck happened this week? Like, my mind is a blur. There were so many unusual things that happened this week just with our whole family's schedule and my husband's schedule. Like, he wasn't at his regular job, he was doing training, and then the kids' schedules were kind of off. I went to think about things to record for this video and I'm just like, what the heck happened this week? I don't know. Okay, but I do have some good things, some things that we could improve upon, and then something that I'm excited about for the future. So the big good thing that happened this week is that we finished our plant project. Hopefully you guys had a chance to check out the video where the girls are talking about where are we going to put the plants, what plants are we going to get, how much sunshine does it get in that area, all the way up through planting them and electroculture. So a little bit of information, behind the scenes information, is that I've wanted to do electroculture for a very long time. And I knew we needed to do other things to prep the garden to do electroculture. And I thought, why not just make this into a complete planting lesson? Obviously, there's a lot more that you can talk about, but just the basics of planting and teaching the girls how to know how much sunshine, versus clouds a certain area gets. Going to that, we've got this great greenery or nursery nearby. So we went there and we saw the beautiful plants. It was just a really good experience. And this is the first big project that we've done. And I learned a lot. So the good news is we got through it. It turned out really well. I'm super excited because now we have, I'll show you guys, all these little electroculture things all over our yard. It looks beautiful. There's one over here too. And it's great. And like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Let me fix my shot here because there was a glare, I think. So we got through it, and I think the girls learned something. We had a lot of fun. The house looks nice. And my takeaway from this was not that, I'm trying to get the girls to do chores all the time, but if there's a way to take something that needs to be done anyway, like you would have this pop up in your life at various times, and turn it into a lesson, why not do that? You're accomplishing two things at once. The girls are learning something, and I'm finally getting a chance to experiment with electroculture. And the house looks great, so yay for us. That's our win for the week. All right, something to improve upon, and this is really for me as a parent. So as you guys know, each week the girls get they pick a question that they want to answer. And I love this. This isn't something I read about or anything. This is just me as a human. I know that I have questions that pop up in my head like, why is it that way? I want to learn more about that. But I never get a chance to do it, right? So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if the girls could do that, and then I'd allow some time for them to actually answer these questions. So this has been a really good learning experience for me because I have seen the difference in how I would approach something versus the girls approaching something. Obviously, they're younger. They don't have as much experience. And I'm also understanding how the public school system teaches the kids to do something versus something that's more independent. So let me give you an example. In researching a topic, usually at school, and keep in mind they're in 5th grade, so it's not as advanced, in public schools, they'll give you one resource, like you're pulling information from a textbook to get your answer. And the girls started to do this, and I said, where'd you get your information from? Well, it was from this one website. So we've had to adjust because I'm like, research from one source is biased. You need more sources. So now we have a rule that you have to have at least 3 sources, so 3 different websites, or if something's from a book or something like that, but 3 different sources. The other thing the girls were doing too is they were just copying information from the resource, but they didn't even understand what it meant. And I said, do you do this in school? Like last year in the public school system? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, well, that doesn't do anything. You have to understand. So you need to read the material and then understand it and then write in your own words the answer that you discovered through your research. So we fixed that. And then this week I learned, because I always want them to present, because part of this whole experience is not just getting the information, but being able to share it with someone else, to communicate it, because that's the true test of whether or not you really understand something. Can you explain it to someone else? And then also working on their communication skills and everything. So I like them to be creative. This whole process, I feel like kids have lost their creativity. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to instill in the girls is how can we be creative in giving this information? So we've done like poster board stuff. We've done Google Slides. And I think they did another poster board. So I wanted to do something different this week. And we're brainstorming. And I said, well, what if you took the information that you learned and you made it into a poem? Can you guys do a poem? And this was just like a fleeting thought. I'm like getting ready, doing my hair in the morning, getting ready to do my work. And they didn't really say anything. So I didn't know, I didn't explain it further than that. So what happens is a couple hours later, they come to me and they have their poems that they've done. And I didn't explain to them what a poem was. I really didn't know if they knew what a poem was. Like I said, it was just a fleeting thing. And I'm looking at this going, well, I see some words that rhyme. Is that a poem? And I don't really know the answer to that. I can't say that I am a poem enthusiast or, very knowledgeable on the topic. I, can write some lines and, make sure every other line rhymes. I can do that kind of poem, but I know there's a lot more out there. And at first I was like, oh no, my thought process was, oh no, you did it wrong. And I stopped myself because this whole process is not about doing something wrong. In fact, when we quote unquote do something wrong, we usually end up learning so much more than when we did it right. So I stopped myself and I thought, Sunny, who are you to say what a poem is? You asked them to do something creative. They were excited about it. They were laughing about it. They had a good time doing it. So when you watch those videos this week of their poems, that's the story behind it. But now this is another opportunity for me. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know a lot about poems because this is just as much a learning experience for the parent, for the guide, as it is for the kid. So this is an opportunity for me now to do some of my own research to figure out, well, what is a poem? Can it be anything? What constitutes a poem? I don't really know the answer to that question. So I'm going to do some research on that, and then maybe in a future lesson, not right away, but a future lesson will be to try to do a poem based on some of the common methods out there. So you start with one thing, you learn something else. This is just a constant learning experience. So as far as something to improve, I think for me, it's kind of that lesson that I just learned, which is, when you're being creative, it doesn't have to follow a specific format. Who said that that's how you do a poem? Their minds are brilliant. And not because they're my kids, because children's minds, if you don't already know, are brilliant. And we dumb them down by sending them in front of Sesame Street and saying, learn your consonants and your vowels. Like they're so far beyond that. But we bring them down to our level, so to speak. So I'm like, who am I? Who am I to say that that's not a poem? So I learned something new. And then my new thing that I'm excited about coming up, well, it's not just one thing, but it got me thinking about it this week. We do a lot of stuff around the house, and there's nothing wrong with that because I work out of the house. But I do want us to start doing little trips. And that doesn't have to be something big. Like I said, we went to the store for the planting project to the nursery, and that was fun. But it got us out of the house, and I feel like, I don't know if I can do it every week. We'll see. But I feel like there needs to be something. And I'm not even saying this has to be connected to learning. But I think it's important for us to get out, both the girls and myself, and do something. Maybe we just go for ice cream. I don't know. But I feel like we need to experience the world a little bit more outside of our walls. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm already excited for it. So thanks for watching our videos that we released this week. We're all growing, we're all learning, and I appreciate you guys being with us for the ride.